Good evening, everyone. My name is Genie Tang, and this year I am a senior at Valencia High School. And today I want to shed some light on the limitless possibilities of transferable skill sets and how you can be living your life differently if you took your existing capabilities and looked at it from a different perspective. Now, it took me a long time to grasp this idea and truly use it to my advantage. So let me start by explaining with something that has rewired my brain for over 13 years now: dance. And to put it simply, I've sort of transformed dance into this tool that helps me think. And over time, it became the ultimate weapon in my mind's arsenal and an infallible thought catalyst. While others prepared for moments of high pressure using mind maps or maybe journaling, I found more confidence in memorizing idiosyncratic segments of movement. And this is because dancers don't really get the luxury of second-guessing themselves or uncertain what-ifs. When we're on stage and we're below the spotlight, we're forced to move. That eliminates error and procrastination, and that was the type of environment that I grew up in, making it the perfect thing to leverage for a transferable skill. So through my own form of kinetic choreography, I put my own twist on context-dependent memory and learned how to store my thought processes into neat folders of 8 counts. Now, I know this is probably hard to visualize, so allow me to explain with an example. So let's just say it's the night before a bio exam, and I'm cramming, and I want to store a certain concept into an 8-count folder. So let me improvise using a 4-count piece of choreography. So I can go 1, 2, and 3, 4, like a breath. Now, to you, that probably doesn't really mean anything. It just probably looks like random moves, right? Well, to me, I was actually visualizing photosynthesis. So let me explain. By moving my arms like this, I can symbolize water. And when I drop a level, it can symbolize carbon dioxide, which I exhale. And then when I turn over here to do this hand motion, it symbolizes the glucose, which is the product of photosynthesis. And the other product is oxygen, which I inhale when I do the breath motion. And that's how it works. And if I wanted to put my own spin on it, I could look at something green while I'm choreographing it to visualize the chlorophyll, which is integral in the photosynthesis process. Now, I know that probably, it's a pretty useful skill to have, right? It's very convenient, very handy. And it's easier for me to do now, but it truly took years and years of conditioning my brain in a certain way in order to be able to produce a skill like this. And the fact is, a large part of training our minds like this truly lies in the unconscious part of our actions. So for example, if I'm in a dance class and I'm picking up new choreography for a dance, it's not as much as a proactive process because I rely a lot on muscle memory and repetition in order to truly hammer the choreography down. So I can do it without even thinking about it in my head. And I never realized how I can apply this technique to something as mundane as study techniques. But I really want you guys to see the potential in your everyday capabilities because they can go far beyond the horizons. However, rewiring your brain isn't just an overnight process. It takes consistent effort. And most importantly, it really flourishes and thrives when you choose to nourish that growth through a specific process. So what is that process? Let's go through it. First, you have to identify and recognize the cognitive and behavioral abilities that you already possess. And these skills, such as specialized problem solving and pattern recognition, are usually domain-specific, but often transferable across various contexts. And moreover, let's just say a kid in musical theater who's used to really high-pressure scenarios and has artistic and resilient ability. Well, he or she can apply that same resilience and artistic ability to, let's say, a presentation or a speech for an office job. This concept in psychology is called generalization, and it is the idea that the cognitive skills that we learn in one context can be applied to other seemingly unrelated contexts. Now, I know many people dismiss or even ignore the notion of generalizing their skills because they don't see the potential or possibility in their own skill sets. Well, I implore you all to think outside of the box and don't be defined by one simple definition of what your skill or capability is. And in addition to identifying those skills, it is also important to engage in cognitive cross-training. So visualize a Venn diagram. The middle part where the 2 circles intersect is where your 2 abilities that are being transferred upon will intersect. So your transferable ability and the ability that is being transferred to. Now, much like how athletes diversify their training through strengthening multiple muscle groups, individuals can stimulate their own mental capabilities by experimenting with their abilities in new contexts. And this process is called cognitive flexibility. And it is truly at the middle part of developing critical and creative thinking processes along with problem-solving skills. Moreover, I think that the tiny details that go into your transferable skill are truly what impacts its versatility and effectiveness. So for me, recognizing how even my head angles, my arm angles, how low I bend my knees, and generally the flow of movement can affect how my mind processes things was a huge game changer. And I guarantee that if you hone into your abilities and recognize those tiny details, your skill will be so unique and very easy to call your own. So all in all, what does this really mean for you all? Well, let me elaborate per the first law of thermodynamics. Energy can't be created nor destroyed, but it can be transferred, and that makes that energy transformative, just like your skill sets. And by allowing us to open these doors and to expand on our prior knowledge, we can continue to allow these effects to change our lives for the better. Thank you very much.